Our saint today, John of God, has an interesting journey of life, coming from a family that was rich in Portugal and then experienced economic hardships, and so he was not privileged in his upbringing, but had some sense of that. So that was a first stress kind of in the ethos of his family. He had all kinds of careers or phases in life. He was a shepherd, he was a soldier. This was the time of the printing press just coming out, and he got involved. Some call him an entrepreneur, and especially religious type of booklets that he was passing out. But the most compelling part, I believe, of his story, tied to his own spiritual conversion, was that he basically experienced some kind of mental health breakdown, a panic attack. I'm not sure you would call it a psychotic break, but there was some kind of crisis, at least as they understood that back in those days. By this time, I believe he was in Spain. And out of this experience, in which he somehow, I believe, had some sense of healing, because he was able to carry on with the rest of his life, dedicated his life to opening hospitals and places of care, particularly to the poor and those who would normally not have access to medical care. I think part of this was because his conversion was tied to his interaction with another great saint, Saint John of the Cross. And if you know a little bit about him and that school of Carmelite spirituality that was in Spain at the time, a lot of that was around this ongoing purification that we go through, allowing God's love to burn away anything that keeps us from that single-minded, committed relationship with Jesus Christ, just as we heard in today's gospel. That the love of God does need to be singularly focused and not having difficulties with other kinds of things coming in, but it has to be the top priority, the main thing being the main thing, as you probably have heard that said before. And we know in our own lives that in some ways, it's certainly there's a lot of people that are struggling with mental health. I always say, is there an ability for somebody to function in their way of being normal, of their way of their selves living out fully their human potential, their their status as a beloved son or daughter of God? And if not, then that's where we pray and try to address things that needs people's healing. And it's not just a physiological and mental issue for many, many people. It's also a spiritual issue. And that in some ways, sin in our experience, even if everything else is relatively healthy, is almost like a mental health crisis, a spiritual health crisis. As we heard in the first reading, we collapse. We're not able to function normally. Our spirit is not able to live this life in the Spirit, this life full of grace, and it needs to be addressed. And so it is addressed by going back to Christ and saying, I thought I knew how to do things my own way, but your way is the way. And we do that by being encouraged by these words of the prophet Hosea in the first reading, which is that I'm going to heal you of your defections, that you're going to be able to function and thrive in the life of grace that I want for you, because I will love you freely. I will love you freely because he wants us to live freely. And in doing that, then his love, he uses this image of my love is like the dew. So it's all-encompassing, it covers everything, and it's meant for everyone. And the more that we understand how God's love works in our life, how in some ways we're choosing some of our own breakdown in our spirit, and that we recognize the collapse that can happen in our life, we're more and more, I think, able to return to the Lord and have full confidence in His mercy, and to follow Him unreservedly, single-focused, fully of mind, heart, body, spirit. And so in that then, we hear God continually say to us, I will love you freely. I am the Lord your God. Hear my voice.